A fragment of broken land seemingly lives on the lucid water in the Champlain Lake, so clear you can count the rocks perfectly placed along the bottom. The sun leaves its trace, sending honey rays across the lawn. Old Lady Island is just an arm's reach, and Marmitte's white dress is pulled at her ankles, the ends catching bits of dirt as she walked. The smell of pasture and linen surrounded me, and the grass tickled my ears and legs as I lay looking at the clouds, catching the dusky sun in between my fingers, while Marmite quietly whispers to herself about the rocks and the fragments of the book she was writing. The wind was coming from the south side of the island, the side where the Lost Boys camped. We'd only heard about them from our fellow island kids. I turned on my stomach to face Marmite, and asked if she knew anything about them. She gave me a detailed explanation of how the Lost Boys were juveniles from the mainland and camped with their grandpa over the summer. The following day, my brother and I accompanied my older cousin Liz and Kenny on a trek around the island. After a bit of walking, we stopped at our Aunt Corliss's camp. It was sat on a giant bluff facing the place where the sun wakes up and goes to bed every night. She gave us lemonade in mason jars so we could carry them with us on our hike. A mile or so later, we were out of lemonade and our feet started to ache, and we needed a break. As we approached Sand Beach on the south end, we found a sand castle delicately made with mussel shells as the patio. While we were picking out the details, Matthew, at the age of 4, ran into the sand castle, destroying it. It completely caught us off guard, and we laughed at his surprise. As we were chuckling, 5 boys made their way behind us. In their hands they held baseball bats and sticks, whacking them against their hands and glaring at us harshly but calmly. My cousins and I all looked at each other. Without saying anything, we ran down the pathway. My brother and I were tripping over roots with our tiny feet, so Cousin Liz pulled Matt on her back. "Piggyback race," one of the boys yelled, and pulled one of the younger boys on his back. We were scared out of our wits as we zoomed down the narrow trail, and they were quick to follow us. We were losing steam, so we had to use strategy. We took a left into the woods to a little barn hidden from the trail that we knew about because of our many explorations of the island. It was called the bunkhouse and had a green wooden spiral staircase to the upstairs. We slid in there and hid, trying to contain our heaving breaths. The air smelled like old wood and snakes, and the dust was clogging my nostrils. Soon enough we heard the pitter-patter of the Lost Boys run right past us on the trail. We all simultaneously fell to the ground, letting out a big sigh of relief. Who knows what those boys would have done to us? Immediately after the feeling of safety set in, the doorknob started to jiggle, and we all hopped up and moved into a shadowed corner as far away from the door as possible. The door flung open, and we all took a sharp breath of air. But instead of the piggish Lost Boys, in stumbled a one-legged man with an eye patch and a backwards worn Yankees cap. Sailor Blasberg. I knew who it was instantly, although I'd never exactly met him, but I've heard the grown-ups talk about him a lot. He took one look at us, and we all shut our eyes in anticipation of yelling. But instead, he laughed and said, "Lost Boys?" We all nodded, and he laughed some more and offered us a ride back to our camp on White's Beach, which we quickly accepted. To this day, I owe my life to Blasberg.